Okay guys, so I said I was going to do a video regarding the reason why I've pulled my club. We recently went to a game and I got two technicals, which is fair enough, but both technicals were not technicals. The last one was within 4 seconds before the end of the game. So I protested the game. I wrote a report saying that I really believed the referee swayed the game. Some of the decisions that were made was absolutely appalling. And then literally a week later I find out the report they've sent into England Basketball saying that was a threatening, violent, which I wasn't nowhere near. I'm passionate about the sport. I'm quite a loud coach, but my first technical I got for saying no way and looking at the floor, which is my first technical, and the second technical I got for saying it's a bad decision. But my second technical, when one of your players goes up to dunk on 3 guys and gets absolutely annihilated, I'm going to say what I said, and that's what I said. You've got the decision wrong. The game for me was swayed in the favour of our opposition. And I do strongly believe it was almost from the first touch of the ball, it was just in favour of the other team. The support I've had from the country has been absolutely ridiculous. I've had over 500 messages, probably about 70-80 emails, and just basically people posting on my Facebook page. So I really appreciate that, and I think people do recognise that I do it for the love of the sport. I'm absolutely gutted that I've had to take what I've done to close the club, but I just can't stand by England Basketball, especially the decision. Like, if England Basketball had turned around and said, like, listen, let's get you in a room, let's get the ref in a room, let's get an adjudicator or somebody from the disciplinary, I'd have got it. But they haven't done that. They've just literally taken a guy's lies and believed them. So what I was offered to me is that to appeal it's going to cost me £500 when I don't need to appeal it. There's nothing, I've done nothing wrong. My disciplinary record of 8-9 years of coaching within basketball speaks for itself. There's numerous videos online on YouTube where, for example, against Liverpool a couple of weeks ago, a fight broke out. I walk on very cool. The Teesside Lions, a game from this season, again, the referee says something to me, I've got my hands behind my back, I'm approachable. I've had people give me references from coaches across the leagues, referees across the leagues, and they've never had no problems with me. They say that I'm respectful, I am passionate, but that's just me, that I'm never going to change. But to be treated the way I've been treated, with no real evidence of me doing anything, just made me decide that I'm done, I'm through. It's a big massive decision I've had to make, but I just can't support England Basketball in the way that it's just hard. I just don't get it. And I keep going over and over and over and over again. Would I change? No, I wouldn't change my decision, because what England Basketball have to realise is, and I think that's why they asked me to apply for one of the voluntary directorships a couple of years ago, was that the need to change. Now, us as members, and there's a hell of a lot of us, seem to be dictated to by our governing body, who really aren't bothered and really don't care, I don't think, personally. Croydon Cougars is another example of a team where they're struggling to register players. They're getting no real help, same as every club across the country, but I don't want to go on about that. It's not really about that. But England Basketball have to change, and there is I went to a Yorkshire meeting once, and there's people within the England Basketball organisation that I mentioned things that have been done and trialled years ago. So why are they not asking the members? And this is the problem. They don't understand, for me, for example, what I've done for basketball. Like, people might agree or disagree with me, but I've put sessions on as many as I can. When we first started this club, we had the intention to do juniors. We did Hull's first ever women's basketball. We helped a wheelchair team that was struggling a little bit. We did all this purely to get kids playing the the sport they're supposed to run and organise, but the feeling I get is they're not that bothered. They don't care if you're in it or you're out of it. They aren't bothered. You're just a number. And for me to appeal this decision was £500 plus a load of fines because we didn't have a level 2 coach with the qualifications you needed for this year to sit the game. So it was going to hit me with more fines. And to me, it's absolutely pointless. And you can argue till you're blue in the face with them. They just stick to the rule. But you know, for me that, you know, has ran companies, runs companies, and runs my team. If one of my players can't afford training, then we'd come to some kind of arrangement where he would pay in a week's time, or you know. And this is what they're just setting to the rules. They've let a club like us go. We've done a lot. You know, we've done, and it's just not that we've done. We've done events, we've done leagues, we've done summer leagues, we've done all-star weekends. Like, I mean, one of the all-star weekends, we got loads of guys from the BBL, from Division 1 to come down and just put a showcase on Hull. I've always wanted to try and put Hull on the map, and this last couple of years, I think we've done that, and you know, we've gone from Division 4 to Division 3 because of the changes, the mergers. The team this year was the best team I've ever had. It was the greatest group of guys I've got. The wheels had fallen off a little bit with the club because of the changes in local league basketball, but again, you know, we still had a very good National League team. I really do think we'd have finished in the top 4, maybe even nicked that second spot the way we was playing, and we still had a couple of other players still to come in. But for me, Basketball England have ripped my heart out because they don't actually care. I mean, our team was predominantly Eastern European this year, so I spent a fortune on registering players. You know, was getting refs from Leicester, Manchester, wherever. That wasn't helping. And these are things that they need to really tie down quickly. So, you know, we have representatives in areas, and some reps, they're completely all over Facebook, they're all over social media. You can see the work they're doing. Other people, like, don't want to do anything and don't do anything, and that's the frustration. You know, there's a lot of clubs just are in and out, and that's it. And what England Basketball aren't recognising is the fact that, I'll just go back for an example. A couple of years ago, we had Blackpool in the league, we had York Vikings in the league, and the main reason they couldn't sustain it was purely because they couldn't afford the referees. Now, if that's the case, why are England Basketball putting referees courses on all the time? That they're struggling themselves at the minute. So instead of charging, like that's the thing they seem to do. They always want to try and make money. Why not support people who want to ref, give them free courses, get them qualified? Exactly the same with table officials, and start something big. But for me, it's all about the money. Now, you're a governing body, you are going to employ staff, and you do need to make a little bit of money. I get that, I understand that. But when it comes down to helping clubs like myself, or Croydon, or York, or Blackpool, or all these teams, there needs to be a network support group that helps, and there isn't that. Like, basketball will, and I hate saying it because I've always tried to be positive about it, basketball will struggle in this country because they're not bothered. They don't care about the members. We had an instance a couple of years ago, you know, one of our players, Harry Dyer-Das, bless his soul, you know, he left us, and unfortunately, you know, he committed suicide. But, you know, we stayed strong as a club. We spoke to his parents, we did all the things that we need to do, but nothing from England Basketball, nothing like, can we support you, can we help, can we do this? And I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but over the 9-10 years we've been involved with England Basketball, it's never got no better. They ask people like me to come in and help them, but then I don't get selected, which is fair enough. 2 other guys got selected, but I'm still not seeing the changes. The need to look at people like me. You know, there's tons of great guys within the sport. I meet and speak to them every single day, and they're not listening to us. And if they aren't careful, it's just going to be a collapse, because all it'll take is one day just for something to happen, maybe like this or something else, where members just think, do you know what, we've had enough. Like, why couldn't somebody like me go to FIBA and say, listen, we're going to start another league, and make it affordable, make it fun, a supportive network, sustainable, and help teams, because England basketball was into, yeah, we'll have you in for a year and then that's it. If businesses actually ran like that, there'd be no business. But we all keep supporting, we all keep paying our membership fees, paying our bloody referees fees. Games this year for us were costing us between £200-300 every single home game. How can clubs afford that? People want to have a National League, franchise or set up, that's fine. But what Basketball England need to do is realise that it's got to come at, a better price, or, why can't Division 3, 2 get their own referees in, as long as they're registered to be a referee, get their own referees in and save cost. Sending the guy from Leicester or Derbyshire for us it just doesn't make no sense. And I get they have to make money, but if if a business treated their customers as they treat us, the members, they would have no business. It'd be shut down, it'd be bankrupt, it'd be gone. And this is what people aren't seeing. So for me, I'm quite livid of how things have happened. And I closed my doors on the club, which has been hard work. It's 9 years of absolute graft. It's cost a fortune. I've put endless hours into it. I've sometimes put basketball in front of my family. Tied my weekends to it, tied my nights to it. There's been times where we've had 4 or 5 local league teams. We've had sessions on every other night. My weekends are tied. And what for? Absolutely nothing. Close your door, that's it. I get an email saying no more fixtures, and that's it. Like there's a couple of guys at Basketball England who were quite upset and probably disappointed in their organisation they're working for. I don't want to mention no names, but I just don't know where we go from here. So if they are going to let clubs like me close, or Panthers close, then there is no future for basketball in this country. I can see why the BBL won't get involved with Basketball England. The only thing that happens is the registration. There's no cohesion. There's nothing. So yes, I'm going on a tangent, but I think like after these years I've been involved in the process, if you like, trying to do the things that I'm doing for the good of the sport, it's been pointless. Like I've got some good memories, I've met some great people, I'll always be in and around with basketball, my company and things, but it needs to change, and until it changes, then nothing good is going to come out of it. I can keep banging the drum about the quite a well organised thing, but company, but they need to change, and if they are going to let people like myself who absolutely love the sport, I live and breathe it, if they let people like me walk away, it won't be long before other people are walking away. And you can see people are disgruntled this year. I don't know how some of the clubs afford to do what they're doing with the associated costs, and then next year there's potential that we're going to be paying for the national setups on top of our own membership fees. It needs to change, but will it? Probably not. They'll just keep doing the same thing, but eventually they'll end up with nobody supporting them and no clubs playing National League. I think when they're asking people like myself to join them, rather than, if people want to join their organisation on a voluntary basis, let them join regardless. Let them come in, let them give them the ideas. Like, I got laughed at when we said we were going to go National League, and over the years we've created a lot of sponsorship money. We've created pathways. When I started my company, I get laughed at. You won't do this, you won't do that. Well, proof's in the pudding. I'm doing it. And I'll continue to do it, and I'll continue to support basketball. I'd even say I probably support basketball a little bit more than Basketball England, because I'll speak to people, I'll help people, I'll try and make things happen for people. Not just in Hull, that's around the country. People generally come to me for advice. What can we do? How can we do this? What do you advise? And I'm going to be just sat on the side now as a fan. well, probably not even for a long time. But I'm just going to leave it for now. I'm just going to do the things I'm good at. But I do honestly think they need a massive change. I was actually speaking to somebody the other day about it was somebody at Vauxhall who's very high up. He's one of the owners of Vauxhall, and I was asking the question of why a company like yourself isn't involved with Basketball England and the national teams, and the answer was given the fact that whenever they look at basketball on social media or any platform, if you like, it's struggling. Football doesn't struggle. Football, the FA seems to be quite positive, have good vibes, do a lot of the grassroots level. There's a lot of companies buying into it, like your McDonald's and all these companies. But they said they never get that vibe from basketball. There's always drama. There's always politic problems. There's problems with the national teams, and they said, why would they get involved with something that's so negative? And I've spoken to a lot of companies over the years, because when I originally looked at becoming part of England basketball, I was speaking to companies like on the scale of coming and sponsor us, but they all said the same thing. Why sponsor something that has so much negativity around it? And I can see why now. It rings alarm bells when the BBL and Basketball England aren't even merged. So you've got your professional league and your semi-professional league. They have no ties barring the membership through FIBA, which is is the upper governing body. So I could go on and on and on and on and on. I just want to close it by saying I'm extremely disappointed, and I'm even more disappointed that I've been slandered in the way that I have. I'm actually looking at taking it a little bit further, to be honest with you, because it's just not fair. I've put my heart and soul into something and had it ripped out, and still no support. Well, actually, Carl, yeah, you've got a point. Come on in, we'll speak about it. Let's see where we can go. No, all I want to do is hit me with appeal fines. If you want to appeal it, 500 quid. If you can't do this, you're going to be fined this, and then you got to do this, and then you're gonna have to lose 2 games, and then what's the actual point? So, as much as I'm very sad to see my club go and close its doors, I've had to do it, because what is the actual point? I give everything to something that our governing body can't even support. Is this the end? For now it is. Things will have to change drastically if I'm going to get involved with an organisation like that. I'm here to help teams and support and give my advice. I don't think there's many teams that have done what we've done. We've hovered around the bottom leagues, but we secured free gym. We've secured so many things over the years that people would actually die for. Some of the people I speak to, well, how do you do that? How do you do this? And it's because I'm passionate, and I will remain passionate about basketball. It's been a massive part of my life. It's helped me in bad times, and I've enjoyed a lot of good times. It's very sad, and I would usually start crying at this point, but I'm not going to. I think for them to change is going to take drastic measures. So for me to close my club, I don't think it'll open any eyes at all. I don't think they're even bothered, but like I said, I don't feel like they're bothered. But yeah, I'm lost for words. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to suggest. I thought there'd be a bit more remorse, and like I said, I thought they might have got me in and just speak to him. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a violent thug, and I didn't threaten anybody. All my players will back me up. In fact, some Sunderland players have backed me up. I didn't do any of those things, and for them to stand by that is disheartening. And my son's quite a good little player, but at the minute I might even going to get him to play a different sport, because what's the point in being involved in something like this? There's so many great people, and I said I'll finish on that, but there's so many great people around basketball that do so much. I could name 20 names now, and we aren't listening to them, and they live and breathe it more than I do. They do a hell of a lot more than I've done, but they live and breathe and dedicate and time with their own money, their own resources. And if they decided to close tomorrow, it'd be like, okay, there you go, no more fixtures, done and dusted, that's it. You get an email. Well, to be fair, I had an email saying thanks for this, thanks for that. I'm sure I'll get an email saying we're going to get fined for pulling out the league. I'll pretty much put my life on that. But yeah, I think the only way it'll change is if members like myself stand up to that, and maybe I don't know where we go from here. Like I said, the support I've had has been absolutely nuts from some of the biggest names in UK basketball, and the support has been received with love, because you know I wouldn't put this video on if I wasn't passionate about basketball. There's a lot of change that needs to happen, but I'm just one person with ideas. There's millions of us members that have loads of ideas, but it's got to start with them. And if they think they're running a great organisation, they're not, because I could name in the last 2 years probably 15, 16, 17 teams that are not playing national, and one of the reasons they're not playing national is because things haven't changed. You know, the game's progressed, but the organisation hasn't, and it's very sad that, like, I just feel like they're not that bothered. They're quite happy to take your money off you for registration, your insurances, blah blah blah. But when it comes down to it, if that's what you're going to get after 9 years of work, then what is the actual point? How we can move forward from here, I don't know. I'm hoping people see it. People, you know, actually say he's actually talking some might say talking rubbish or BS or whatever you want to say. But I think there is definitely some good points, and I think that they need to listen to the fans. They should actually have I know they've got guys who look after their areas and things, but you know, just I don't know how it's run. You know, do they have a committee for people within the areas? Is there a separate committee for those guys? I don't know. I'm not sure what will happen. You know, I've always tried to be positive, super positive about the sport in England, but they've, like I said, they've torn my heart out. I'm stupidly upset about it, but what's keeping me sort of positive in another way is that they didn't really care anyway. So I'm using that at the minute to think, well, what can I change? I mean, almost to the point where I might just send them an email saying, you know, we need to change these points in the country, which I've done before, hence why I applied for the directorship job. But again, they're not really. I think it's one of those organisations where they've done it, but they haven't changed with it. So whatever they've done from day, yeah, they've got a new website that costs a fortune, which is, you know, it is what it is, and they've got this new process of registration. But other than that, what they're actually changing, you know, they're doing this Inspire stuff, which is good. You know, there is certain positive things they're doing, but they need to change how clubs, you know, I know clubs struggle all the time, so get somebody into them clubs. Like, no disrespect to our representative for Yorkshire, but I've never seen her in Hull, I've never seen her at Panthers, nothing. So, and what is in Yorkshire? There's ourselves. There's not a load of teams in Yorkshire playing National League. There's a few, you know, predominantly Sheffield based, but you know, for us and probably Dagenham, you know, the other Yorkshire teams, I've definitely never seen our representative at a game or just come to the club. And I think it's us, like I say, it's us guys that are living and breathing it every day. And if they're not going to listen or going to change, then in 10 years, you know, when it probably will at some point go pear-shaped, they're going to be like hitting their heads against a brick wall, thinking we should have listened to the people that are actually the members. But other than that, that's it. I'm out. Sad, but I look forward to my next challenge. Whether I might start a club in the future, or I just don't know. Like, you know, I love the sport, but it'd be nice to see some changes and maybe get me into England basketball, getting 30 of us, not even me, just people who living and breathing it, you know, every single day. There's some clubs in the country that, you know, I know that have men, women's, wheelchair, juniors, have absolutely everything, but when you speak to them, they get no support, and that's all that clubs need. Like, you know, they're quite happy to dish out fines for this, for that, but eventually there's going to be no clubs to fine, because everyone will just give up with it. And like I say, if it was a company treating the customers like that, there would be no company. That you sometimes you have to adapt, change, bend the rules a little bit. you know, things that you have to do as a company owner, but I don't think it'll ever happen. They made this big roadshow deal of, you know, this going to every single area, blah blah blah. Stuart Kellett's coming, blah blah blah. Everyone I've spoken to have gone on about the referees charges, but this year it's where. So who's actually listened? Like, the only reason we've kept going is because I've bankrolled it. You know, we've had sponsor support and things, but when I actually looked at it, I think I spent 90 something thousand pounds in nearly 10 years. Take away the sponsorship we've had, there's still 50-60,000 that my members and myself have put into the club. So, you know, if I had a customer that was spending 10 grand a year with me, they'd be looked after. Believe me, they would be looked after. And that's how you build a trusting partnership and relationship as customer, supplier. I know it's governing body and members, but it's still the same principle. It's almost like a business. So until you run it like a business and appreciate your customers, then you're on a hard in for nothing. So like I said, thank you for everyone's support. It won't be the last you hear of me. All those in clubs, keep doing what you do. I absolutely love some of the energy that's around the country. It's amazing to see the sport is got to the level it has got to, but the governing body needs to change drastically and quickly, because it's going to fail all as members. It's failed me. You know, I could have left the doors open, I could have done this, but seeing the report, which I'll quite happily put underneath this post, from the referees, wow, it absolutely just did me in, like crazy. Super upsetting to see those words associated with me. But I'm going to stop because I'm going to start crying, and because I am emotional. But yeah, other than that, I'm out. Thanks for listening.